Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. New details tonight on what really happened the night of the Benghazi terror attacks and how politics may have played a major role in the response, or lack of it, that left 4 Americans, including the U.S. ambassador to Libya, dead. We told you yesterday Benghazi terror suspect Abu Khatala will not face the death penalty. That reversal by the Obama administration comes as we hear from new witnesses who say more could have been done to save the victims. Senior correspondent Adam Housley has tonight's top story.
There's so many ways that you can get screwed over, per se, basically thrown under the bus if you give any sort of information.
This man has asked that his identity be protected for fear of retribution and says others in his squadron have also wanted to talk about Benghazi from the very beginning, but none have been interviewed since the 2012 attack, and all are afraid of retribution.
I'm not trying to give away information that could ever harm the military at all, and that was never my intention, that was never my plan, but I feel like some things do need to come to light.
He says within minutes his air squadron was told that a, quote, real-world mission was going down. They raced to the field and were quickly briefed as planes were armed and prepared to launch.
There were people everywhere. That fly line was full of people, and we were all ready to go, all of us.
But according to the controversial State Department Accountability Review Board investigation, interagency response to Benghazi was, quote, timely and appropriate, something our source vehemently denies. His squadron was stationed at Aviano Air Base in northeastern Italy, and according to men who were there, could have easily flown to Naval Air Station Sigonella in Sicily and then on to Benghazi.
I definitely believe that our aircraft could have taken off and got there in a timely manner, maybe 3 hours at the most, in order to basically at least stop that second mortar attack and have those guys running for the hills and basically save lives that day.
He says the military excuse that a refueling tanker wasn't available isn't valid because American jets routinely refuel by using what's called a, quote, hot pit maneuver, which allows the jets to land and get fuel without shutting off the engines. He says multiple locations were available the night of the Benghazi attack.
As far as I'm concerned, we're the world's greatest Air Force, and we need something done, and we need to save some American lives. We're going to get it done. They just kept telling me we're waiting on a call. We're waiting on the call. I still feel a sense of fault for not being there when we were needed. We could have been there, and that's the worst part. That's a horrible feeling to have when you can help someone, especially when you don't even find out until later and then you hear that people actually died.
The same frustrations have compelled Mike, a former team sergeant for a military anti-terror quick reaction force, once known as the SIF, to talk.
I'll tell the reality, and anybody else can skew it the way they want to skew it. The facts are facts, and that never changes. Despite
the claim by former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and the State Department that nothing more could have been done, a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit recently revealed that then Department of Defense Chief Jeremy Bash immediately offered assistance to the State Department on the night of September 11th, saying forces could move to Benghazi and, quote, they're spinning up as we speak.
I know everybody was spun up, but then for some reason they were all just shut down, and I think it probably leads back to a policymaker somewhere saying, hey, let's just, because nobody in the military is going to shut down an operation. They want to get involved.
While the murders of Ambassador Chris Stevens and Foreign Service Officer Sean Smith happened early on that fateful night, the deaths of CIA contractors Glenn Doherty and Tyrone Woods roughly 9 hours later still haunt many within the military community.
They got killed in a mortar attack at the end of the battle when, you know, the sun was coming up, when they should have been killed, because we had plenty of time at that point, hours and hours and hours of time, to be able to do something, which we did nothing.
On the night of the attack, Mike was at Delta Force headquarters in the U.S. monitoring the events as they happened. Shortly after, he returned to Libya, and he says U.S. Special Forces had multiple chances to kill or capture the terrorists responsible, but were repeatedly denied by the State Department.
At our level, we were doing everything we're supposed to be doing. At everybody else's level above us, it was political. I read the emails. where they're saying, hey, we can't do this now. Now is not the right timing, because it's just politically we just can't do it.
In mid-June 2014, U.S. Delta forces captured Abu Khatala, a man now charged in the attack. Mike says that Khatallah is a low-level operative and not one of the terror cell leaders. And while the U.S. sat idle for weeks as Khatallah talked with Western journalists and touted his alleged involvement, Mike says the real Benghazi mastermind and the larger terror cell disappeared.
If we would have hit the target at the time that special operations operators had the intelligence to hit the target, we could have collected important information and intelligence that would have led to bigger fish.
While Democrats have called the investigation a waste of time and money, Republican Congressman and Benghazi Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy says his committee has uncovered new facts, but does admit they're still having issues finding witnesses.
We may know a description, but we don't know the name. So you have to go to the Department of Defense in this case and say, we need the following folks. They have the names. And no, it's been very frustrating. It's been frustrating for 2 years.
Gowdy says his final report will be out before summer, and it won't solely focus on former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. The two men we spoke to have never spoken with any investigators. Brett?
Adam, thank you. We'll stay on it as we have.